Friday at noon. Branding, musicality, success, no BS. Jack Price is Right with Jennifer Savage.
Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live programs. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jennifer Savage, and I will be your host for today's show. We're excited to be presenting our third episode of the Jack Price is Right live show, and today we'll be exploring falsehoods as it relates to our lives and experiences, anywhere from the lens of musician, artist, manager, performer, and all
Friday at noon.
Of the crude and unfiltered human being. And do they impact our perception of the truth? Find out here. There is no one-size-fits-all answer, and this can leave you with more questions than simple answers, but it's more real that way, and that's what we're here for. Hello and welcome. Great to have you join us, and welcome to the Jack Price is Right live show. Jen, just to show you what we're all about here, I think we've got a little preview to recap our very first premiere of the show.
With a whopping topic, truth. So,
yeah, well,
what's that all about? What are you talking about?
I know.
When you're talking
What's it
about
all
truth?
about, Alfie? This show has a lot of questions and very few answers. I take three showers a day. I don't have bad body odor. I don't. Maybe some others do. And
Is that
I
the
don't
truth?
know. And I know a lot of Polish people. Yes, thank you. Savage is good. She was handpicked for this job. I want everybody to know. You know, she's just really on the money. So go to your local justice. I'm about excellence, and I'm about the truth. And they're all related. I don't care about piano playing. I want my pink pony, and I want it now, Daddy. You know, that's that there is only one truth, and all other truths are a part of that truth. The truth is those tears are verifying that the feeling you are having at that moment is true. I think tearful situations are true situations. Yes, that's a way of putting it. But, well, of course, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. You know, Rich Little used to say that all the time because he was so masterful at imitations. But if I don't drink a lot of water, am I going to get a UTI and end up in the hospital? No. The thing is, once a word remains in your mouth, you're the master. Once a word leaves your mouth, you're a slave. Is that true? It most certainly is. That means so ideas create decisions, but not necessarily your own ideas or people who align yourself with your ideas, but people that are against you. That's what I learned from Lincoln.
Yeah, I think I'm getting a little closer to the truth.
Back to the truth and the truth. My truth is music has to move all the time. It can never be static. Even everything's the same except for stylistic differentiation. I mean, your Tchaikovsky can't sound like your Brahms, and your Brahms can't sound like your Beethoven or Bach, but it is the same. Change your heart, not your mind. Change your heart. So you got to crystallize it, okay? It's the change of heart that will change history. That's the truth. Is the process the most important thing, or is tasting a piece of the cake the most important thing? Why do you have to win all the time? Why do you have to beat up everybody? Why don't you just enjoy what you're doing? And I think everything should be fun, or don't do it. If it's not fun, don't do it.
And that was our first episode on truth. And I just want to say once again, welcome to Jack Price is Right. I'm your host, Jennifer Savage. It's great to be here. And today I'm excited to be joined live with my co-host and celebrated partner in crime, Dikron Atamian, otherwise known as Jack Price. And just to give a little introduction, formerly known as Dikron Atamian and now known as Jack Price, He began his career in artist management in response to his own career as an RCA recording artist after winning first prize in the 50th anniversary Now and Bird competitions, as well as a crazy pianist who premiered The Right for solo piano. Jack Price, welcome to the show.
Well, all I can say is great
Yeah.
to see you. You look wonderful as usual, and I look the same. No, not the same. Not the same as you. I mean, I look like I did last time. Okay.
Right. Okay.
No. Do you know what a canard is?
No, what's that?
Do you know what a prevarication is?
And what's that?
Okay, these are all the topic is falsehoods, right?
Right. Today we're talking about falsehoods.
They're synonyms for lies or things that are untrue. And I thought I would start that way because I love these words and I've been using them since I don't know how long. The first time I heard the word canard, I thought, that's really a good word, I don't know what it means, but I'm going to use it. That's a canard, So it turns out I used it correctly. The Schumann? No, it's not related to the Schumann, but there is a bit of a lie in that opening. What nobody knows is I had a memory slip in that da-dun, 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 because you can tell there's one section, da-dum, that's a little softer than the other ones, but I played the right notes, but I actually had a mental slip right there, Yeah.
So that's the little secret that you're sharing.
That's
with
a
us.
secret because you can't hear it except there's a little bit of a dip in the sound. And I think it's so funny that you picked that. That's very revealing. It's very false. It's truly false.
But here I want to show a little bit of a refresher to recap for our viewers from the last episode. We were talking about faith in our second episode of Jack Price is Right, and here's the recap right here.
We'll be exploring faith.
What faith does is it's a motivator. It keeps you going, even if you don't know the result. They define us. Mistakes kind of identify us. Whereas if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to believe in anything. The faithful person believes in what they're doing and they think it's worth it. When the goal is out of reach, which I bring up the cake again, maybe that's not possible to taste that cake. For some reason, you're not going to get a piece of it, okay? And people give up on the try part. They never give up on the dream. Oh, I want to be this. I'm going to be famous, No, I have no faith in any outcome. Are you kidding? I've planned so many things in my life that never came true. But boy, it's been a hell of a ride. Let me tell you. Why don't you go into the contest with the attitude that you have faith that you're going to turn that performance into a recital or concerto or whatever for yourself? It's your own performance. It's like you're walking into the concert hall and you're the only one playing. And then you finish and you walk off and then you realize, oh, I'm competing. I didn't even know I was competing. I was so lost in the music. See, that's the thing. You're never going to get anywhere by comparing yourself. Have the faith in yourself. Don't you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else? Isn't that true? If you believe that that's the way it goes in everything, you're going to accomplish the task. Faith moves mountains. Why? Because mountains are unmovable. You see?
Is faith acquired or is it a gift?
It's a gift, but you can learn to have it. And it's not any less than the person that's born with it or whatever you want to say. We learn from our mistakes. We don't learn from things we do spectacularly. Okay. The only way you can learn from a mistake is to pull yourself up after you fall. Okay. I mean, I've fallen so many times, physically, man, I think I'm so stupid. I've tripped in the snow and I'm thinking, man, I'm getting old. What
all sorts of mistakes
on here?
Yeah,
but I always get up though, don't I? I'm still here.
Well, we had a great response. Yeah, that was a great little recap. Kind of summed up a lot of what we talked about in our last episode with faith, how it relates to our lives, and we had a great response from our last few shows. And if we could put those up on the screen, we got a lot of great comments, a lot of good feedback. People are getting something out of this, and they're seeing themselves in what
that's a
we're
long
talking
one.
about. And yeah, there's a lot going on here. We'd love to hear more from you, from all of our viewers. Any and all comments are welcome, positive or negative, of course, anything. But we love hearing from you. This is amazing. And is there any response to some of these comments that you'd like to make, Jack?
I just caught one right there. Without a destination, there's no reason to journey anywhere. Well, that's true, and it's not true. See, it could be a falsehood. Okay. I tend to think the journey's enough, and I disagree slightly with some of those comments that the journey is the destination. I don't really believe that, but I get where they're coming from totally. Okay. And I appreciate the comment. The journey can be the destination, especially if the destination, the ultimate destination, is completely hopeless. And some things are hopeless, but they're not worth pursuing. You can pursue hopeless things in the quest that they might come off, that they might come true. I mean, scientists and all kinds of people operate this way. They don't know if they're going to find this cure for that, or they just work at it and work at it and work at it. I mean, look at cancer. Hello. They haven't cured it, but they're trying. That must be one of the most frustrating journeys I've ever heard of. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's the answer to that one. It's not the answer, but it's my approach to it. So in short, or in summary, I would say, you got to have a destination. You got to, at least go for the piece of cake or go for that piece of pie, even though the process of all those teachers teaching those bakers how to bake and then ultimately comes to this fabulous piece of cake or whatever. You don't have to taste it, but the journey is phenomenal.
Do you think it's confusing, the journey and the destination here? Is it difficult to separate those sometimes if you're thinking of both of these parts of the process, or two parts? And
I said that the fatalist is the one that confuses them. The fatalist says, I've got to have a piece of the cake. The opposite of the fatalist, the one who's, I guess, just perfectly happy with about anything, says that, hey, I really enjoyed that trip. Like, what if you were driving from Phoenix to San Francisco and you didn't get to San Francisco for some reason? Does that mean the whole trip is bad? There's Walnut Creek, there's Sedona, the Grand Canyon, there's all these places. I don't know if that's the route.
That's a fatalistic perspective, you would say.
I would say you shouldn't have a fatalistic viewpoint, because it's fatalistic. And when I said mountains are immovable, by that, I'm not sure that's the word. Is that the right? Is it unmovable or immovable? Immovable. Okay, so I said it wrong. Sorry. No. Yeah, that's in a sense the journey versus the destination, the process versus the end game. Okay, so I would say the mountain can't be moved, but the approach to moving the mountain is very important, and it can also accomplish other things. You don't have to move the mountain. In other words, by trying to move the mountain, you can maybe move other things. You see what I'm saying? You might be able to conquer other things in the path. I mean,
so the mountain is the destination, but the journey is trying to move something immovable, and along the way, you can make something happen.
Yeah, in other words, the mountain's immovable, but things along the way are movable. And so you might find, I didn't get to the mountain, or I didn't move the mountain, but I did this, whatever it is. Yeah, I accomplished this. Look, it's the difference between a positive outlook and a negative outlook. It just depends on how you look at it. Everything is viewpoint. Everything is from a point of view. Or as they say, it's into the sayings thing, it's how you look at it that matters. then of course you have the falsehood of fooling yourself. Like, well, yeah, it's a matter of how you look at it, but the fact is it's still really bad, you know. In other words, the truth is it's a really bad thing, but I'm going to look at it, I choose to look at it in a different way, in a positive light. There are those who have that, you know, those, what do you call those affirmations you see on people's
words of affirmation?
No, you see phrases of affirmation you see on the refrigerators of friends that say, think of the bright side of life, you know, this kind of thing. I mean, you know, that's just phenomenal. But if you're someone like me, I just go, okay, you know, I mean, it's not,
okay.
I'm in the middle. You know what I mean? I'm not a fatalist.
All right.
I just go, okay. Yeah, like that guy. Yeah,
like
that's
right.
Larry's responses. That's not quite his famous response. He usually says, okay. You know, I mean, he's not really convinced when he says, okay, that the other person's telling the truth. He usually does that when he's looking for the truth, right? He looks into their eyes and then, you know.
And he's sniffing out some falsehoods out there.
Yeah, he knows they're lying, or at least he thinks they're lying, but he decides the better part of him, which we talked about last time. The better part of him doesn't go with the falsehood. The better part of him goes with, well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, he's telling the truth. See, but you know, when I picked this topic, falsehoods, I was really, really getting into a huge hornet's nest because how can you tell what's true or false? For example, you go to a garage and, you know, you're going up for a tune-up or an oil change, and the guy goes, oh, it's terrible. You need a water pump. And I go, how do I know I need a water pump? I have to take your word for it because I know nothing about cars. Therein lies the rub. Okay, so you have to be an expert at everything to know if everyone's telling the truth. There is really no truth unless you do the homework. How are you going to know?
True or false?
You know, they say this guy did this and that.
Yeah.
Did you examine his voting record? Okay. If you didn't examine his voting record and you don't know details about, we're talking about legislators, you know, if you don't know what they did, then it's a personality contest. That's what it ends up being. Oh, I like that guy. Oh, I can't stand that guy. Okay, well, whatever.
Right. So how do you know one from the other? If you don't if you're not an expert in everything, like you'd have to be so well versed in everything in order to confirm that everything is that you want to know is true or false, right?
That's what I think is that's what I think is interesting about a true or false answer. You know, a quiz. I was going to give you all a quiz at the end of this little segment here. It's going to be a funny quiz, but nevertheless a quiz. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, how do you know? Well, I have concluded that it is, once again, I've said it 1,000 times, not that anyone was listening, but it's a feeling. It's a feeling. We don't really know. We believe we know. So therefore, we have faith that we have the truth. So that's why I said faith and truth are so close, but then again, everything is so close. When you deal with a canard or a prevarication or a falsehood or a lie, you know, it's very, be careful who you accuse. You know, it's like in court, you know, you can get into big trouble, but, well, that's a phenomenal accusation or that's a phenomenal road you're going down. What do they say? It's a slippery slope. Okay.
The slippery slope, yep. Yeah.
You better have done your homework in certain instances, like going to court. You better have the facts or what you believe are the facts, because otherwise you're going to get clobbered. Okay? You've got to do some kind of research. That's why lawyers get $25,000 up front for what? Discovery. And at that point I say, you're fired. Because I do my own discovery. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawyer. You know, I don't have that kind of money, so I'll do my own discovery, and it's this thick. Okay? When I do discovery, it's real discovery. I've asked other people to do discovery, and I get this. So the old adage is, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
That's not a falsehood. That ends up being quite true. So, but then we go back again, that's connected to what? Delegation. Okay. So we can't do everything ourselves. So therefore we have to have the faith in those who we delegate that particular task to.
In order to find or get to the bottom of the truth.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. As a matter of fact, I've come up with a new slogan: all life is catch-22. All life. There is no way out of it. There's no way out of a catch-22. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But it doesn't have to be all negative and bad. It just is what it is. And that's another thing. We get back to what is, and what isn't is definitely not or isn't. What isn't. You can't change what is. You know, we can't change. I can say, we're talking to each other now, but I can change that right away. Watch. We're not talking. Okay, so in the next instant, you can change it. But during the actual event, you can't do a thing about it. We're talking to each other. You see what I'm saying? What is at that second, that moment. You have to freeze the frame. What is, what isn't. But it can certainly change in the next second or minute or hour or year, or depending on your time paradigm. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was... Okay, here's another one, okay? He was handsome. Now he's ugly. Why? Because he's older, or she. You could, you know. I mean, you know, that's that transformation from going from youth to aged. I mean,
so you're trying to
big
relate
deal?
The passage of time to what a thing is in the present, and how
that's
the
right.
passage of time changes that state.
You got it. Remember that. I hope that's being videotaped. Well, that's my truth. See, someone else might say you didn't get it. You know, I don't know. Look, the real answer in this Jack Price is Right routine is there are no answers. Because, not because everybody has an opinion, it's because the truth eludes us. It's an illusion. It's like a mirage. Okay, you think, oh, there's an oasis over there. It's
chasing.
We're chasing it. Look, you know what Christians say sometimes? They go, okay, here's Jesus and here's me, and the closer I get to Jesus, the farther away he moves. The closer I get, he moves farther away. It's the same thing with the truth or anything else. In other words, the closer you get to your destination, the destination changes. It moves. Everything's moving all the time because we can never attain perfection. Okay? So the falsehood is, it's perfect. He played perfectly. Wrong. He tried to.
That's like the music too. Like when we're looking at the music and we hear a performance, and it never should be static. It should always move. Just like that's why I said your mistakes define you. What's wrong with a mistake? What's any kind of a mistake? In music, a musical intent could be wrong. A musical gesture could be wrong. A wrong note obviously is wrong. I mean, what's wrong with those things? If I hear something perfect, all I say is it's perfect. You know, like a recording that's been edited, like it's been edited over and over. But when I hear something of mine, say, or a friend, and I know they're playing well, and I say, oh, that didn't go that well. That mistake tells you something about them.
And I learned something from that mistake they made or I made, and it defines the performance. In other words, if everything was always the same, you go, well, I mean, what's the use of hearing this stuff? It's all the same. It's so perfect, I have nothing to say about it. I mean, and besides, we'd have nothing to say if it was perfect. So it would be a very boring show, you know? I mean, mistakes and mishaps make for interesting fodder, okay? So, you know, what are you going to do when, okay, let's say Margot Robbie, okay, you know the actress?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Many people say she's perfect. Well, hey, I can't argue too much. She's a knockout and she's a fabulous actress. So you think of Margot Robbie as perfection. If Margot Robbie is your idea of perfection, both in physically and talent, in terms of her gift, then there's nothing to say. Margot Robbie's perfect. But if she makes a mistake, you see, or if she does something that doesn't quite gel in the scene or something, you remember that and you go, oh yeah, she was kind of off there, but she still did a beautiful job. Still.
So it's kind of what you remember. It stays with you, and it's what you're talking about when you leave a movie theater.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely remember perfection. Like, let's see, a perfect performance. What was that? Yeah, like Anthony Hopkins in Titus. Okay. So Titus Andronicus was, Titus Andronicus was Shakespeare's angriest, bloodiest, and first play. It was the most violent. It was his first play. Hopkins tackled this in the year 2000. It was probably made in 1999. I saw it like 5 times in a row at the theater in Ann Arbor. It was absolutely unbelievable. And you can't even get this movie regularly, on these channels. I mean, he delivers a performance that's really not of this world. It's not real. It's so fantastic that it defies perfection. Okay, that's all I can say about it. I can't even remember how perfect it was. Defies the realness of it. Yeah, it really it's like it's not real. It's so perfect. But I attribute that to his great genius and talent. But even he made a directorial debut in a Russian story that was Uncle Vanya or something. It was a takeoff on Uncle Vanya. A Russian novelist wrote it. It was not the greatest, directorial debut I've ever seen, and I don't think he ever directed again, which I'm not sure, but I don't think he ever did. And I remember that movie very well because it was somewhat of a catastrophe, okay? Because his body of work as an actor is so fantastic. Right. I think of that one movie, the Uncle Vanya Takeoff or whatever it was called. I think it was called August or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Title within his it just sticks in my mind as like, oh, he really blew it there. It's kind of interesting. He plays Picasso, he plays Nixon, he plays John Quincy Adams perfectly, he plays Zorro unbelievably, but he screwed up on his directorial debut. Yeah, it was boring, for me. So it sticks in my mind. So mistakes can be kind of like guideposts, like, oh yeah, he screwed up there and then he had another great success. Whatever. Right. That's kind of how I think of it.
So then back to falsehoods.
Well, that is a falsehood. A mistake is a falsehood. You see, that's how it relates. Yeah, you should learn from your mistakes and embrace them and not think of them in the false way that, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. That's just so awful. I should be completely tarred and feathered and hung by my toenails for that mistake. And, the thing is, we're so hard on ourselves. We're all very similar that way. People say, oh, we're not similar. We're all different. No, we're actually very similar. Everyone I know is pretty hard on themselves. They're self-critical, self-deprecating. Okay. So how do you combat that? Well, be nice to yourself, once in a while. Just say, okay, hey, pat yourself on the back. Hey, that was good. That's one way of doing it. Or fake it till you make it. That's another way of doing it.
So then if you falsehood your way until you make it?
Yeah, I mean, I always told my little kids, I told Sean, fake it till you make it, because he was always really nasty to people, and I'd say, just be nice. He gave his grandfather hell. I said, can you be nice to Gustav once in a while? I know you really hate his guts, but can you just be nice? And it'll finally come. And then he turned into a nice guy, Okay. Actually, I always knew he was a nice guy. Yeah, I mean, I always say that again. Sorry.
It takes passionate convincing here.
Yeah, that's another topic is the
so
falsehood. It's part of the game. If the game is like to tell the truth, like the show, or what's my line, or who do you trust? These are all true. These are all games that they sound funny from the 50s and 60s, but they had profound effects on me. For example, What's My Line? I loved the show when Van Cliburn appeared on it. He did the most fantastic Russian he goes, yes, I'm this, and they thought he was a Russian czar or something, and they went on and on. He gave the most fantastic performance, and nobody knows really how funny Van was. I knew him pretty well, and he was really funny and very profound. And he stumped the panel completely until the very end when Dorothy Kilgallen or Bennett Cerf said, did you win the Tchaikovsky competition? And then he was found out. But anyway, the moment of recognition, he might have let something slip out. But he was stumping them all through the show because of falsehoods. He was trying to fool them. Everything's based on lies in a way, like to tell the truth.
Everything is based on lies.
It is, because you got 3 contestants and they're all lying, and only one of them is the guy that says he's the guy. In other words, they say, I am an astronaut. And contestant number 2 stands up and goes, I am an astronaut. And number 3 stands up, I am an astronaut. Well, which one is the astronaut? They have to interrogate these 3 so-called astronauts and guess who the astronaut is. It's lies. Yeah.
Sifting through the falsehoods.
Yeah, it's
the essence of the game.
The essence of the game is barnyard tales. That's what I get all the time. That or children's stories. I call them barnyard tales or children's stories because it's just ridiculous, some of the things I hear. But the truth can be uncovered through all these stories. You can sift through it like a sifter, like you put flour through there, if you're a cook, What are those things called? Sifters.
Sifters, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sifter. Well, I got it right for once. Okay. So you sift through all the lies and you come to the truth. You arrive at your destination. Okay? Which is the truth.
To tie it all together here.
Yeah, if you want to tie it all together, that's a mistake, right?
Fake,
Lies
falsehoods.
are mistakes. They're terrible. They're falsehoods. I hate falsehoods, but in a way, they kind of bring the truth to light, in a way. I mean,
by sifting through falsehoods, it leads you to the truth.
Yes, because I've learned, for example, when I go to a mechanic now, I'm a little wiser when he says, oh yeah, Richie, you need a new tire. Look at this, and I go, oh really? There's plenty of tread there and it's not going down the API or SPI or whatever it is. It's still at 38. Hello, I do not need a tire. Oh yeah, but that's what they tell you. But the real truth is you need a tire. I go, no, thank you. Okay, so there's that, but it's much better. I want to stress this to the audience. It's much better if you get the truth directly. I do not want to mix words and say lies are fantastic and untruths and falsehoods are fabulous because we get the truth from them. But yes, directness.
That's not what you're saying. No,
that's not what I'm saying. And some of those comments that came in over the weekend or whatever from the last show, they're kind of, I agree with almost all the premises, but they were stated in a convoluted way, in my opinion, if you don't mind me saying that, all of you who contributed. Some of them were a bit convoluted.
No, we want to hear what you really think.
Well, what do you really think, Richie? That was going to be the name of the show. Okay, what I really think, okay, you want to know what I really think? I don't think they were listening to me. I'm going to be Larry David here. I don't think they really got what I had to say. Here's what I said.
Yeah.
The journey is important. The destination is not. I'm so sorry. That is what I said. So interpret that now. Don't be literal about it. It's not that I said the destination is worthless. I said compared to the journey, the destination isn't as important. You know, if I go to Las Vegas, oh, here's a great example. Viva Las Vegas, you know? If I go there and, by the way, I don't gamble at all. I have no vices. I only have one vice, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Right. But the destination is less important than the journey.
I go to Vegas, and I have a blast, and I lose all my money. I still had a really good time, right? So,
sure.
Isn't it what it's all about?
If you believe that, yeah.
The house always wins. You're never going to win in Vegas. You're going to win one day, and they're going to gobble up all your money. And if you put up your house, your title to your house, you're going to lose your house. You're not going to have a roof over your head. Okay? But sometimes you win, but most of the time you lose. But you sure have a hell of a ride all the time, usually. Unless you're super depressed that you lost all that money. You got to be philosophical about it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I want to take a moment here and pivot with a little clip that we've got to switch things up a bit. And stay tuned right here on Jack Price is Right. Piano Concerto. And here, while we're in the middle of the show, I just want to take a second here to mention that we are live every Friday with Jack Price is Right, and we've got so much in store, so many topics, so many things ranging from the truth. We've covered truth, faith, and now we're on falsehoods. And coming up, our next episode is going to be on patterns. Where do you find them? And here's a little preview of this next topic. And you can check us out on our YouTube channel at Virtual Concert Halls. We're also on Twitch, LinkedIn Alignable, streaming to all major platforms. And you can find out more on virtualconcerthalls.com as well as priceattractions.com. And we'd love to hear more from you. All the feedback from our last episode on faith was amazing, and we'd love that fruit for discussion. And I think all of us will get a lot out of it. So thank you so much for those comments. And back to what we were saying here on falsehoods with Jack Price himself.
Yeah, here's a falsehood. What I just said was a falsehood before. Those statements, those were very good comments and contributions this week. Excellent. Yeah. And I'm not saying they all didn't hear what I said. I get a little
very
angry,
thoughtful.
You know? Yeah, they're very thoughtful, and
they
I
put
get
a lot
little.
of thought in it.
Oh yes, they did, and I get a little uppity sometimes. So See, that's
But we
gotta
want to
admit
hear
our
what
mistakes.
everyone else has to say and what everyone else has
Yeah,
their thoughts on.
I mean,
what you're saying.
I just picked out one thing that kind of bothered me, but that one guy that wrote a novel, interesting stuff. Although I can't remember it, you flashed it up on the screen. We could address it. We could address it at some point, but there's no time right now. But by the way, I want to say if people want to write in and want me to answer or Jennifer to answer, we'd be glad to give you a little Dostoevsky novel response in the email.
Feel free to write in and
feel free.
Share
I mean,
what you think.
We can't
Tell
get
us what
to
you
it
really
all.
think is what
Tell
we
us
want to
what
say.
you really think. Yes, that's
Exactly.
right. What do you really think? Yeah.
That's what we're
Okay,
here
so this thing about falsehoods,
for. Yeah.
I think we need to tackle. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, like how do you know? Who knows? And is it the perception of the truth or a falsehood?
I think the classic falsehood is a setup, framing people, here's a story. I've got so many stories. There's a guy that was in an organization and he didn't like these two people in the organization. So he sent these false emails from a client, supposedly from them. He mocked up their signature somehow, electronic was one of these whizzes. Yeah, he was one of these whizzes that made it look like so-and-so wrote this email regarding this artist. This was an artist management concern. And he tried to set this person up because he didn't like them and he wanted them fired. And he wanted the boss to see this email so he'd fire him. Well, luckily, the person that was being framed was able to absolutely nail the person that was framing him or her. And he got fired.
So it was a big turnaround.
Yeah, it was
complete 180.
Well, the thing is, the person that was framing the other person didn't realize how gifted the person he was framing was, and how truthful the person he was framing was, and how, I guess, sort of deceptive that person could be, because she or he turned that whole thing around deceptively to make it look like the accuser was the accused. It turned out to be true, okay? Because the facts were there. Empirical data proves, okay? Now, this falsehood stuff does not prove anything. But I have to say, there are some very persuasive people who just weave and spin canards and prevarications all their lives, and they're so totally convincing that my head is spinning. I can't think of one right now, but boy, are they good.
They live their life on a web of lies.
Yeah,
and
this is the con artist. The con artist means the confidence artist. If people don't know what con means, I didn't for a while. I said, "What's this con thing?" Confidence. Yeah, it means they're gaining your confidence, and when you gain someone's confidence, whether you're lying or not, you've got them. All you need is their confidence. In other words, capture their imagination. Capture their imagination, you've got them for life. Because there's nobody that can, have you ever noticed when you really like someone, they can make a lot of mistakes and do a lot of bad things, but you still really like them?
You don't see it.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you do see it, and you still love them.
So you see it, but it doesn't impact.
Isn't that true love?
One might say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get at interpersonal relationships here, but let's just say I love this computer, and I really love it. I love this computer that I'm at right now. Actually, you or somebody over there suggested I buy it, and I'm in love with it. But I can't stand a lot of its attributes. Like the touch of it is real weird. It's like it's sticky. Yeah. It's real sticky. It's very sticky and it's very sensitive to the touch, and it makes all kinds of, I'm typing along and all these words come out wrong. But I love the look and the modern kind of thing it is. I love this computer, the feel. So I will forgive this computer all of its foibles just because I love it.
Yeah.
But I actually don't like the computer. I like my crummy one over there in the other room. Okay, so it's like a towel, you know. People say, oh, look at these beautiful new towels. They're not absorbent. So why would I want them? They're not absorbent. I want an old towel, a Raggedy Ann towel that will take the water off my body. That's what a towel's for. And
so you're saying that this PC, this computer has taken your confidence.
Yeah.
And
this computer has
confidence in it. Gain your confidence. Exactly.
Well, not only that, it works perfectly. So it's completely conquered me. I believe in this computer, but I don't.
So it's affecting your perception of the truth and the falsehood.
Yeah, the truth is I hate the computer, but I love the computer. You see?
Okay.
It has attributes. I'm just totally in love with it, but then I find all kinds of things wrong with it, and I still love it. Well, that's kind of like your wife, you know, or your husband, you know.
All right.
You know. Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but, you know, unfortunately,
there's an analogy for that. Yeah.
It's an analogy, but I can't get away from the thing. The analogy doesn't work. So if you're in a relationship and, you know, the person is flawed beyond belief and you still can't get enough of them, there you go. That's love. What can I say?
Is that your verification of what love is?
Yeah. It's like, you know, tolerance is preached all the time. This could be a falsehood. They say tolerance is the ultimate act of brotherhood. You know, if you can tolerate something or tolerate some person, then you've learned that great thing, which is forgiveness, tolerance, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think it's a little simpler than that. I think basically we surround ourselves with people we can tolerate, not that we love. If I can tolerate someone, then I talk to them. You know, if I cannot tolerate them,
that's like when you said we were all political. We align ourselves with people that think like us.
Yeah, but tolerance is more than political. That means you're dealing with people that don't think like you do, but you're tolerating them. So it's the level of tolerance. It's the level of tolerance that matters. Okay, if you can only tolerate them there's somebody who will remain nameless who I absolutely can't tolerate. Okay, I've eliminated them from my life. I've blocked them, and they can't call me. I see their texts. You know, when you block somebody, you see their texts, right? The block texts. Yeah, so I see them just trying desperately to get in touch with me, but I've had it with this person, and they cannot get me. Okay, so there's no tolerance there. My level of tolerance has been exhausted to nothing. Okay, and by the way, I had a lot of tolerance for several years for this person, and now I can't take it anymore. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's that simple. Why don't people just spit it out? It's the truth. It's not that people vote out of love. They vote out of fear that the next guy's going to be worse. You know, it's that simple. I mean, you know, I'm not even talking about voting for a candidate or a contestant. I'm talking about decision making. Okay, how many times have you...
in this relationship that you're talking about, this falsehood, when did you realize it was a falsehood during that relationship? Or was it always and you just didn't know?
You know what, Savage? You ask me that question every week. Every week you ask me...
I think that's what I want to really know.
I know. Every week it's like, when did you come to this realization? And I'm going to give you the same answer. It's in my noodle. Yeah, look, it just pops in. I don't come to realizations like on a date, a specific date at a specific time. It's just, it's like it's an oh yeah moment. Like you go, oh yeah. You know, it's like, oh, that's what it's all about, you know. And it comes when it comes, you know.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hey, listen, whoever's in the back room there, I'm not sure that's appropriate. I would say that one I would have gone pretty pretty good. You know, that's the appropriate answer there. Okay, pretty. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah, that's the whole point, is that you come to these realizations. The answer to your question is, I don't know. and the question is, I'd like to know. And that's the question. When did I come to that realization, and how did I come to it? I just did. I think that's the point of this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like we said, there's no one size fits all answer, and we can't blanket.
Not at all.
With any, just do steps 1 through 3, and then you'll find your way to figuring out the falsehood, or what is the truth, or what do you believe in? What is your faith? Where do you place your faith? So,
yeah, I mean, I agree, but I just, while you were talking, I was listening to what you were saying, and I came up with something about when I came up with these things. I mean, you can say that about all 68 topics I've prepared for the next 4 seasons. Actually, now they're over 100. So anyway, I just keep, I'm in the shower, like, shampooing my hair, and I go, oh, breakthrough, Yeah, it's just like a series of breakthroughs. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I told you, I was at the Ravinia Festival once playing, and I was rehearsing, and this guy started imitating me. He would go like this with my arm, because I'd always crack my arm because there's this tendon that just snaps.
Right.
And he goes, breakthrough. Yeah, I'd go, breakthrough. I just had a breakthrough in the practice room, and he would imitate me. He was from Wheaton College, I think. And he kept on imitating me all the time. And I said, yeah, it's breakthrough time. It's like always breakthrough time. If you're not having breakthroughs, you're a dead person. I said that. It's on the website.
If you're not constantly breaking through, you're not living.
Yeah, so you're not really living. You're not really alive. I mean, it's like Braveheart, that tagline, everybody dies, but not everyone lives. Remember that? Mel Gibson's little, poster. The Sizzle. Oh, here we go. It was the Sizzle that said that. The picture of him, with the knife and conquering everybody and blood all over his face. It says every the poster for the
promotional poster.
The promotional poster is called Sizzle. Everybody knows that, but maybe some people don't know it. I don't know. I picked it up, and now I use it in my management. Sizzle means the image of the person that you're representing, the product, and then you click on the sizzle and you get all the deliverables. Okay. All right. So on the sizzle to Braveheart, it said, if you remember, I'll never forget it, in 95 when it came out, it says, everyone lives, but everyone dies, but not everyone lives. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
Well, William Wallace was a good example of living. He was valiant to the end. He believed in freedom, and he fought for it. And he had an incredible life. Yeah, he got beheaded. Okay, so what? That was the end of his life. Okay, beheading is not that bad. I mean, just ask, what's her name in France?
Not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just the end.
Okay.
I mean, what was her name? The Queen of France or something? Oh, gosh, I can't even remember those people. The guillotine. She got the guillotine.
Antoinette?
Yeah, Marie Antoinette. Well, she had a good time. She stole all the money from all the people, and she defrauded the government and blah, 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 and then they killed her. But she had a hell of a time before that. So she should realize, okay, I had a hell of a ride, and the end result was not exactly what I wanted. I didn't get away with murder, so she gets her head cut off. Okay? I mean, you have to really think about things the way they happen. By the way, another falsehood, death is not the end of things. It's not the worst thing in the world, by the way. There are many worse things than death. That's a falsehood. Oh, death. Oh, this phenomenal thing called death. Why are we so afraid of it? Because we don't know what happens next.
So
we believe we know.
How much of the falsehoods that you're talking about are sort of almost societal beliefs that are just ingrained in all of the population of, for example, fear of death, or that we've lived through and everyone kind of repeats so often that you start believing these falsehoods?
Well, it depends on whether you're a maverick or you're a brave. If you're an Indian brave following the chief, you have one sense about falsehoods and so on. If you're a maverick and a rebel, you're going to have another outlook. I
it
happen
depends
to.
on your setting and the
Yeah,
context.
it really actually it's in the genes, to be honest. Okay? In my opinion, you are what you are. You can't change what you are. You can improve and polish it. Like a performance, I mean, okay, let's go to the musical aspect of this whole topic. You take an artist that was 9 years old, and then you take that same artist at 39. To be perfectly honest, especially a Wunderkind or a Prodigy, they're playing the same way all through it. They're the same artist. It's just more refined. It's gone through several permutations of polish,
As they
levels
mature,
of
yeah.
yeah, but no. This
musician?
artist I'm referring to, I'm thinking of a particular 9-year-old violinist by the name of Lilit Gampel. She was the absolute quintessential artist at 9. You have to look her up to believe it. Pierre Fournier took her on tour to play the Brahms double when she was 9. She was a violinist, he's the cellist, right? I love Fournier's playing. So I listened, I heard this with the Phoenix Symphony. I just was completely dumbfounded. I have, till today, I've never heard a prodigy like this. Why? Prodigy, sorry. You know why?
Why? Why is that?
Because it looked like a person of 60 in a 9-year-old body. In other words, sounded like the most mature, polished, exciting, riveting playing in a 9-year-old body. I've never seen any. It's not just fingers. It's not just that she was brilliant. It was profound. It was beyond belief. It's the best Brahms double I've ever heard. Okay, so that in itself, okay, is exactly what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter in anything. Take, for example, a young person with an old person and they get married. Why is this such a faux pas? If they click, they say, oh yeah, he's a womanizer, or she's, she's a gold digger, and all the typical comments, right? Well, what if it's a person or two people who actually found themselves and really get along? It is possible. It is possible. Right. Like Martita Casals and Pablo Casals. She was in her 20s. He was in his 80s. That's pretty funny. Where's the laugh track? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I knew Martita, actually. I played for her. I did the Ravel Trio at Marlborough with her. She was there in the audience. Anyway. Yeah. And I asked her, I said, it's an interesting concept, you with Pablo Casals. So how did that happen? She couldn't really answer it. It just happened. She could not give me a straight answer. And I think they got along very well from what I understand, but I don't know that for a fact. I'm just assuming. Yeah. But the point is, these things do occur, and all of these, as you call them, societal brandings, are falsehoods. Because views, you can always find an exception to the branding or to the view, or this is right, this is wrong. There are always exceptions. By the way, that's one of my pet peeves. Are versus is. Everybody goes, there is some solutions. No, there are some solutions. Hello. Right. We're bastardizing the English language all day long. It's in movies, it's in everything. That's a falsehood. It's just simply wrong. So stereotypes, it's bad English
in general, societal views, stereotypes are actually, you can see them as falsehoods.
We're living falsehoods. Every time someone says is, that's a singular. They're using it in a plural setting. How many times have you heard that in a given day? I just go crazy. No, there are answers. There's answers. That's not correct. There's answers. There is answers. Really? Yeah. There is an answer, but there are many answers. That's a falsehood. It's not a truism. It's not correct English. It's wrong. Why? Because the peoples that set out the English language say so.
All right. All right. Well,
that's it.
I hate to cut you off here. We're on a roll, but I know we're running out of time. Yeah. And that's all we've got for falsehoods today. It's been really interesting getting into that relationship between truth, faith, falsehoods, delegation, views, all of those things. And I just want to say thank you for being with us, Richie. It's been great having you on.
You're welcome.
And with that,
We forgot the quiz.
oh,
We forgot the quiz. Well,
All
no,
right.
we don't have to do the
Yeah.
quiz if we've run out of time, and we have definitely run out of time.
We have
But we'll have the
definitely,
quiz next time. How's that?
Sure. Okay. All
I
right.
might put it up on the internet, and you can answer it any way you want.
All right. Well, that has been Jack Price, and this has been the Jack Price is Right live show. With that, the time is right, and I think we gotta go. I just want to take a moment here to thank our partners and our sponsors, and give a little shout out to so many of our collaborators that are working with us to make all of this possible, and as well as see all these organizations that are collaborating with us, orchestras, and management companies, all of these places that are working with us to make this broadcast possible. And as well as I want to also do a little shout out to the production team. Today's broadcast. Yeah, shout out to our production team on virtualconcerthalls.com. Our broadcast today was powered by Christian Pelagi, directing behind the scenes, and we couldn't have done any of this without you. And thank you for being along with us during this journey. Big part of our show is the journey, the destination, and everything that comes along with it. And with that, I think that's all we've got today. Our topic today has been falsehoods, and this has been Jack Price is Right. I'm your host, Jennifer Savage, and I hope you've gotten something out of today's show. I think I did. So, see you next week. Bye.